Abusunya Kennedy akompre kwa Japan one anas aremeya wanas ewo US court no enei enkomo a course wo court wo between Kennedy akompre kwa Japan ne lawyers anas lawyers ene judge nankasa extended one no aba abonten a manfo obusa question say na den ena anas aremeya wanas eyi sa side ho no free no de baby kakra bi ebe claim say wanya judgment kire say Kennedy akompre kwa Japan into $18 million any identity of anas ewo US court
yenko New Jersey court and komobia koso between the two defense counsels Emma Anas Aremio Anas and Kennedy Japan. Then the judge Emma the ruling was asem so no medin card assembly beto was 18 million there yaje Emma chese ya mini an Muslim for eba bedi omoyi ya bechiche bi dibia e tuoze afnum ne ade dibia wo fufuo num ne ade gugu so a bedidi kama. But unfortunately, says can intimi massa no because our some free some easy and I may be but or natural with him. Yentiem come a course between the two councils now. Judge, a yato says ama assembly could do what you call mistrial. Sign as uncommon called Tia Yepa. Listen to this.
This is what the jury said. In our initial finding, we awarded $18 million with a breakdown of presumed damages $5 million, actual damages $5 million, and punitive damages $8 million.
We're done.
No, Judge. I'm requesting a mistrial. They current to consider punitive damages in the initial, and you can't mold the verdict. I'm once again requesting a remitter based upon that, and a new trial should be granted based upon that response, Judge. They were not considered. They were outside of your. I'm just making a record, Judge. Now, if I could. Those are outside your instructions. They were required to follow your instructions. They didn't follow your instructions. You're not permitted to mold that verdict because that's not form. A judge can only mold form. For instance, there's a lien, and you can mold the lien if the parties agree. You could pre-tax versus post-tax income. The judge is permitted to mold the verdict based upon the specific evidence that was presented. You are not allowed to mold that verdict. That's a remitter. There should be a new trial granted, and unfortunately, they did their job, and we should send them home.
Judge, basically, my thought is on their form, which is what was submitted to the court, it did state that it was presumed damages. On that basis, I believe that the instruction that Your Honor should send back was that the punitive damages and the actual damages were not included in that judgment.
Mr. Morrison.
I'd like to see the law, Judge. I think Your Honor is more than equipped than either of us to understand that when the jury sends that back and they haven't followed your instructions, and you can't send them back to re-deliberate, had they had that question during deliberations, you could have given an instruction, a curative instruction, and brought them in and said, punitive damages if you're not to decide, just decide. First of all, there should have been actual damages because there was only presumptive damages presented. There were no actual damages. And Judge, it's just simply a mistrial. It's a mistrial. We need to go no further.
Okay, so Mr. Morrison, it's your request that we discharge the jury, right?
We discharge the jury, and you declare a mistrial. You put it back in the hopper. We'll be back in 6 to 8 weeks, either with Your Honor or another judge.
Okay, and what's your request, Mr. Chair?
My request is a curable. Is a curable error. I mean, they made a decision. Granted, it wasn't a decision supported by the instructions, but if they did come back and award punitives where they shouldn't have awarded punitives. Your Honor can correct that by curative instruction. So I don't see a mistrial here, but I leave it to your judgment, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm going to ask Mr. Deere a question. So, Mr. Corson, please don't interrupt. So, Mr. Deere, why is it a valid verdict $5 million on presumed damages, $5 million on the actual damages, and $8 million on the punitive damages?
I would accept that. The only problem I have is that they weren't instructed on punitive damages, so that would go outside the instructions that Your Honor gave them. Yes.
Okay. And so, Mr. Corson, you want to say anything?
Yes, Judge. I'll use plaintiff's argument about unringing the bell. We have no idea if the actual and presumed damages would have been different had they followed your instructions. We can't go into their mind. Once they say that, Judge, they anticipated something they shouldn't have. It's not a valid verdict, and more importantly, Judge, the rules do not permit you to mold that verdict. It's not a question. You're not permitted to now change that verdict. Now, maybe if it was a different verdict sheet, things would have been different. If it was broken down separately, they would have had more clarity. But they didn't. But Your Honor is not permitted, once you find that out, to do anything else but cause a mistrial, because that verdict has been returned and it cannot be cured. You cannot go back and have them reconvene.
Well, Judge, this all boils down to Mr. Corriston's own insistence that we take punitive damages off the original verdict sheet. If you remember what I did, I put it on the second page, and then we had a break saying return to. So I think if they had the original verdict sheet, they would have recognized that they weren't supposed to go beyond the compensatory. But somehow he insisted that we take it off the verdict sheet completely and have a separate verdict sheet. And this is what has created this problem. It's curable, at least I think, but I leave it to your judgment, Your Honor.
Okay, the court's decision is we are going to bring the jury in, we'll discharge the jury, and then we can keep talking.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, please bring the jury in.
Good one, folks. Of course, welcome back, and of course, just gone past. Audio recording one. No, eka in coma course or court and no, and the judge in the general said no, as almost central assembly should be. Folks, of course, in the series, my executive producer Yawayamba is going to give us a summary of in common way, a course between the two defense counsels and then the judge, the auditor. Executive producer Yawayamba is in the house. Yeah. And Mwadjo, as the saying,
Boko.
Good one. Yeah, take it out from there.
So, Utie, Brofu Bibri.
Now we okay, dear.
We okay.
Oh, okay.
Brofu Bibri now, Kofi Kayan, Kofi Miansane Kayan.
That's right.
And the top finding now, purchase a judge in a say, Oma in the initial case, no motion from the beginning.
Yeah.
Omo our day judgment of our 80 million, Ediama and us, and then in Kofi. Now in that word no
that's right.
Actual damages, punitive damages, and presumptuous damages.
Oh, and the Mpeja 80 million like that at 3 stages.
Mpeja is punitive near 8 million.
Okay.
Actual near 5 million.
Okay.
And your friend is saying presumptuous near 5 million. To go on 18.
Okay.
This is a court in a patch. And Ora Kennedy, no lawyer patch say jury no, they committed some errors in awarding such judgment. No.
Oh, okay.
And, they are calling for a mistrial. And Anas, no lawyer no say or from where he sits no.
Yeah.
Errors na jury no a committee no.
Curable.
Errors are on bit my own baby.
Okay.
Idea they can cure it. And onu say they should go for a mistrial. And Ora Kennedy lawyer and so on say because judge cannot make those changes unless it's a jury.
No, it's a judge. No, to me, changes no.
Because as a jury, did not follow the instructions.
That's right.
Judge in the mouth. So they have to go back for a mistrial for jury to sit on it again.
Oh, okay. Excellent, folks. Charlie, give me the punch, eh? That's right. Yes. Executive producer Yayamba, very good guy. Yeah, you are the good guy. Yes. You bet you weekend in Buta. Folks, and some no saying that now into your menu way into Nafi, yeah.
Okay.
Ahana sem no koko wie na eno na make say no say announce are emeyaw. Na say so omudi nsem ne ba bonte no omudi we su ka ho, but then again and again it begs the question, I don't know man first asem we ameka ho. Well, anadu yen konkoya de ye ba be din komo bi afi ye bewura the angle we call the deconstruction of the masked man. The deconstruction of the masked man will be done by who? Tonight, we have another studio, so I know so Ebe joining straight up. Yes, of course. My co-host, of course, Kofi Ejiri, is the director of research at the Frontline Show. Of course, will join me shortly, and then he will take over from that angle of the deconstruction of the masked man. Then, what he's going to do basically, Ebe to say. See a kase anasa me anasa or ye hwanya. It doesn't matter what you've watched before. Or ye hwanya. Tonight, this platform is unauthoritative, stating quite clear and unequivocation that the pictures and everything are very authentic. Whatever that we are about to say to you about the deconstruction BBI authentic. Nothing can be said to be fake. Yedeba. Yeah, fake BBI. No. BBI authentic. Now, ebium say we are anas aremi anas. Ono no enche no de ade abetu ni Facebook say. I we enye ne kre. As of last week yebo Obinim video bi wa ha. Obinim so ni bedi nkomo. Oba abonten the next day Saturday ni bedi komo say sa asem na Obinim o kan enye ne kre. Well, eno no oni kwadu Obinim asem mememu bi. Tonight, what we are about to do about this, you're kind of saying the deconstruction we also same crave his he said Omra Facebook no make us images near the by na nyane dia. Nemom odinai wi a on phone wan kasa na image in femra. The reason we have to do this is that we know said the oil abonti on journalism, and we cannot allow hundreds and thousands of people to go into the same hands. Obeden say keke for want of nothing, because the oil we are saying on authority that's not journalism. Okay? Inti enche Kofi Ejiri will join us, and he will be doing that job for us pretty shortly. So folks, do I have Enoch on the line?
What are we about to do? The mask. You wear your own veil today. You feel like you not with the latter. I had about Wale no. Name mask no channel. You better mask no. Na perception will create. You wear your meaning there are your foot. Early days no.
Okay. So now
early days
we are on the pictures of there. Ubehu first one or share a chebi waso. Then Bakunwa I just say video picture and a daho. It's about 4 pictures on the screen now.
Yes.
God.
It's actually this very image here and we see now no first one.
Yeah.
Why they play some will be that no.
That's right.
Early days.
God. That's
the early days.
That's Anas early days, eh?
Yes, that's the early days. Now we judge you crusading guide. That time,
good one.
That time, researching there, not of practice pure undercover work. It was not about
so giving you money. Real Anas, right? This is the real Anas.
Yes.
Okay.
And that time, and this is the Anas that you are talking about too. Early days,
God.
That time, Otum, Uraha. This guy's and when you say someone is an undercover, undercover has to do with assuming an identity. can walk to a shop, any place, either as a priest, as a soldier, as a lawyer, anything. That makes me undercover.
Without necessarily wearing a mask.
Undercover. That be a face.
Yeah.
But the them respect that system. Yes, most undercover guys if you are from public coordinating babadam. I don't pay them prosthetic in their share. And I obey. And so I was saying die. I mean.
Yeah.
This was his early days. Now actually forehead and that thing big is smooth. Actually I don't know. Now let's look at second one or section.
Okay.
Now you share more Congo.
Okay.
The Congo they know. I want to watch the video in the chat. They know. Russia a boom. Now essentially I share a queer recent one okay 18 million.
New Jersey
them three very pictures.
Okay.
Now this distance. Actually forehead now. The forehead in the
okay.
Actually forehead now. A bone de lineano. Samsonite is to be a phobic a the name.
Okay.
Actually, the nature eyebrow no so in me said I knew.
Yeah.
That's I say.
Yeah.
Actually, them three a bone in me said I knew.
Okay.
Now actually name Vienna Castana eyebrow no. Actually no nature bone the one kakra then or the ho. It's no actually them images trainer. You put no cocoa no I nankasa.
Okay.
I bet no court nankasa.
So that's
the court one.
Good.
The actual court now, and the what thing space now ba nehinano.
Sure.
It no once and space no na grass is not that no. With them ya and no for whatever reason I don't know annoy the man.
That's right.
If I'm no why I kebi.
Yeah.
Atmasi.
Yes.
Na eshe na afemfem na owane ho ade fana no hunya ade ni nya na. Them really a natural one.
Okay.
Ayada omo food.
Okay.
A natural. No be back there. I bet it's why the new my do. One. Class there. I undercover guy.
Yeah.
Being undercover no. Under papa. Emotionally on top under papa. Because of our dream behavior and to not say, yeah, was into under papa. Two. Being undercover no. If you are in BB or mental hospital. In do at the moment no more. And that will not be it. There are places they can walk out one man, even though a Muslim, but a German or more. If by one man is one man, we and one man, you know, what they name you are. Or more, no, this was today, only not fresh, no, it's no, at that point, no, a bone then, they be why them one more,
body change. Yeah, it has a lot of body change. Yeah,
actually, them second one or such one at that time, not exclaim.
That's right.
Actually, Chadudi, no, I have to compare to the restaurant or popular or Manyamet.
Okay.
But people they say, they bear who there, and Yame, a stranger. Even at the time, not know how to order, and in an answer, can be Jindi.
Yeah.
That is one thing, so, sir. Go to our conversation. I had they know, I'm electronics and still is wondering. But the weak mind, I was on But bear in mind that the American courts are different from her.
Yeah.
If you face the catch one,
okay.
If you actually left now, I know now. About there, why they make up the crown now?
That's right.
If you look at the first one, now I cocoa, maybe can catch all day. Being an undercover guy, you make pure wire, but affect the body system.
Yeah.
It's in them immediate envy. Next time we will need down onto them.
Sure. Okay, quick one. A tree, I'm talking about a picture no or the New Jersey court one or share glass no. Ni tree, and the real tree and also see prosthetic. What can you explain on that?
It's natural.
Good one. Then what about the natural about good one. Good.
I don't actually know. This will be a natural because just tell you within the agency, agreement, and you have to bring in experts.
Good.
Because at the beginning, some of us believe they know Oyana.
Yeah.
But upon series of checks, and and even the son of Padia.
Okay. Good.
Because they be no more Or the boss on Yamia, or the boss on Yamia. You cry. But let me put this thing across and some DBB.
Good.
Echo comment section where maybe I saw the people, are you fighting corruption or you are attacking an us?
I'm doing
this question. Name one saying Yano Mami Yano. Now this is it. A lot of people were Ghana hanging there. Kukwana didn't start as a broker journalist and not doing any TV though. That be no undercover. Until one day or documentary. No you pay this any we at the bay. Ghana how Ghana and Kashi.
San Obian Kashi. Omunim Sami Obiba and it will be Kashi.
Because Kukwana no if there a mojana a blue mojana name no a quota into no open ye. And interestingly, at the time that the image out, I remember our lawyers were on Kukwana de Kuku, kill this guy. And Kuku said, you don't know. I had a party with Messi, many book on a because in Yamaliano, for me, Kukwana, we feed it on Europe. It is a bit of fight to corruption, another year. Kukwana to stop some of the activities are acquired as is alleged there. Why they not so true no stopper? I have corruption in our fight now. It's a long and a bit of question now. Good. I have a comment section where could you offend about the open mouth to the DH mouth and what a program the kind of people comments on when you are Adreno crazy no could tell you into a morty. I'm Obiala show there show program no. Or you show program so I saw over. Into one was what I said. Few way. So and then I had a DBC.
Good.
Now subsequently me the videos and Yama Baba out. Now me don't see for me there. I will be cast no so. Na akadama say so obey oban obi boko be de masa. Gano kona ye woman. Nyame no wotum. Say you pay the seni say you enya coward net was na edun da. Jema kuku bi represent be there. Masa, a common story. That story is a can on YouTube. Day, no. At once, I'm afraid. I had to penetrate. At the matter, a coward. And you're being the. And you win in that customer. No, say, I some no kind and Tassa. Yeah, no, simple. But I have seen couple for cruise to be no was or try to get some profit. The man deny home because, Yami. What time was so ya? Into your own view. That day, maybe I catch on Kofi. A join a research based, it can be challenged, a panel challenge, a person I need them or
Good one. Director of Research, Kofi Ejiri. Of course, he was on the beat on the deconstruction. And folks, the deconstruction of the maskman just gone past a Director of Research, Kofi Ejiri, has just done that greatly and beautifully. Kofi, thanks very much. And of course, be on the other side. We'll definitely touch base there. Folks.
Most welcome.
Great one. Now, Kweku, those who know me, I am one of the journalists who have gone through all the angles of media, radio, TV, newspaper, everything. I have senior editors who are and I decided, because me no one asked me a crusading guide. Yeah. Okay? Yes. Now, why some of us wanted to go straightly undercover? But he decided, say, no, sir, obetro asanfufro be family home. No, maybe we ask him say, now what here? So okay, Mate, I accept the challenge. But you see, it is not about me masking an ass or not to mask or mask him. And ebema corruption ejai. No. Hey, when you da ho, when na de meni da way into Kweku, enime piwa me fem pia bonten. In society na enko yana. We can do the job in many ways without necessarily enana make cash as say ma Kweku na metra han kreti enye hu say one de jama onwa home say no, we can all fight the corruption without necessarily making ourselves who deals. Folks, make